Welcome to the Abundance Zone, offering you tips and tools for supercharging your ability to attract more of what you desire into your life. Learn how to step into the Abundance Zone and stay there more consistently and watch your life transform. Does your mind often dwell on worries, things other people do that drive you crazy, past hurts and disappointments, or your failure to let go of a disturbing bad habit? I'm Dr. Eve DeLunas. As I explained in episode 2 of the Abundance Zone, your thoughts play a big role in determining whether or not you are in the zone that brings you greater abundance of every kind. Thoughts that focus on what's wrong with you or other people or your life in general hold a lower vibration, and so dwelling on them can take you out of the abundance zone. In this episode, I will be offering tips for training your brain to entertain the kind of higher vibrational thoughts that make you more magnetic to attracting whatever it is that you're wanting. Now, before you may begin getting down on yourself for entertaining thoughts of a lower frequency, please keep a few important things in mind. First, criticizing yourself just lowers your vibration. See episode 4 for more information on dealing with self-criticism. Secondly, of course you dwell on the negative. Our brains are wired to do exactly that. In his book, Hardwiring Happiness, Rick Hansen writes that our brains are Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. I just love that analogy, and I think it's 100% correct. So we naturally focus more on what's wrong. That's how our early ancestors actually survived. This means we all habitually think lower frequency thoughts until we make the effort to change that. And I am about to tell you how you may go about doing so. My third point is that no one is in the abundance zone all the time, except maybe a few very highly evolved souls. Consequently, it's unrealistic to expect that of yourself. Instead, aim to be there more of the time. Know that any step you take in that direction will make a difference in the kinds of blessings that you attract into your life. So please don't freak out if you catch yourself focusing on thoughts that are lower vibrational. I can tell you that I catch myself 20 or more times a day, and those are only the thoughts that I'm aware of. Instead of judging yourself, feel good about being aware enough to notice. After all, this is not easy, as many of our thoughts are automatic, and we aren't even consciously aware that we're playing them in the backs of our minds. Now, the good news is that with intention, with attention, and with some effort, you can actually rewire your brain to start focusing on thoughts that feel good, that is, higher vibrational thoughts. It wasn't too long ago that researchers discovered that the brain has this amazing capacity to rewire itself at any age. So no matter how old you are, no matter how long you've been stuck in a rut of thinking certain thoughts over and over and over again, you can always change that because your brain is always opening to rewiring itself. They call that experience-dependent neuroplasticity. And again, all it takes is your intention to refocus your mind, your attention to your thoughts, and your choice of letting go of the old thoughts when you're aware that you've been thinking them, and repeating new ways of thinking, entertaining new points of focus for your thoughts, points of focus which are uplifting, which represent a higher vibration, a higher frequency. Higher frequency thoughts tend to make you feel good. They feel joyful. They feel happy. They're thoughts of appreciation. They're thoughts of love. They're thoughts of gratitude. They're thoughts of peace, beauty, kindness, well-being. Let's take an example of how you would go about changing a low frequency thought into a positive one. And let's imagine that you tend to be very critical or judgmental of someone in your life, and you're aware that kind of thinking doesn't serve you in any way and certainly doesn't serve the relationship or the other person either. It actually keeps you annoyed, angry, and frustrated. And of course, it keeps you out of the abundance zone. So the first step is you establish the intention to change that way of thinking about this individual. You're intending to change this mental habit because that's what it is. It's just a habit that you have established, a mental habit to kind of let your mind fall into this groove of criticizing or judging this other human being. Then the next thing you do is you begin to pay attention and to take notice of a time or times when you start to replay those thoughts in your head. It may be when you're doing the dishes. It may be when you're driving. It may be when you're weeding the garden. It may be when you're grocery shopping. It could be any time, probably when you're doing some kind of automatic activity and your mind begins to wander, and suddenly you find yourself engaging in this negative thinking. At this point, when you've fallen into the old habit of criticizing this person in your head, what you want to do is stop yourself and then choose instead to find one thing you appreciate about that person and really focus on it. Really, really focus on how much you appreciate that quality that this person holds. And everyone has at least one quality we can appreciate. And after focusing on that one quality, see if you can find something else that you like or appreciate or admire or respect about that individual. If you do this repeatedly, eventually your brain creates a brand new pathway in which you automatically focus more on what you appreciate about other people, not just this individual, but all people. It's like you create a new superhighway in your brain. As you repeat a new way of thinking over and over again, particularly if there is an emotional charge to that new way of thinking, if you can get excited about it, if you can be happy about it, if you can feel deep gratitude or appreciation as you entertain this new way of thinking, then your brain says, wow, this is really important. This, my human is thinking this over and over and over again. There's a lot of emotion attached to it. I need to make some new brain connections so this thought occurs more easily and more naturally. And that's what happens. And so, as you practice a new way of thinking, initially it's harder, but over time, the more and more you practice it, the easier it gets because your brain over time creates those new neural networks. And so it becomes more natural to be thinking about what you appreciate, what you like, what you enjoy, what you respect, what you admire about another person. What you're wanting to do in general is to train yourself to focus your attention more on the flowers in your garden of life rather than the weeds. That doesn't mean you don't know the weeds are there. It doesn't mean you don't tend to the weeds, but it means you spend more of your time noticing and appreciating and drinking in the colors, the fragrances, the beauty of each and every flower in your garden, realizing that they are magnificent, that they are miraculous, holding them in wonderment. For wonderment is a very, very high vibration. So look for opportunities to find the flowers in your life. It may be in your work life. It may be in your home life. It may be in your relationships. Maybe in your creativity, in your living situation. Focus on the flowers rather than the weeds. And as you do so, know that you are opening yourself to a brighter and more amazing future. So this week, why not try to catch yourself once a day dwelling on lower vibrational thoughts, and then practice deliberately changing your mental focus to something more positive or uplifting. And know you are uplifting your life as you do so, one thought at a time. Have a beautiful week.